Hey guys, today we're going to talk more about Venn diagrams. We spoke a little bit about them when we talked about conditional statements. And we're going to go into more detail today. You might recognize Venn diagrams from some other classes. So the one that looks like what we've already talked about is this one down here. This represents the word all. So you might see something like, if you live in Manassas, then you live in Virginia. Or you could say, all people who live in Manassas live in Virginia. The box is something a little bit new, and so the box represents a even bigger group or set of people, and in this case I wrote the United States. So if you're in Manassas, you're also in Virginia, and then you are also in the United States. Up top here I have a box of athletes. I have one circle that represents football players, one circle that represents baseball players, and the word some is associated with this picture because when they overlap, that means that some football players are also baseball players, so that's possible. And then when we have two circles that don't touch at all, it means they're disjoint. The word associated with that is none. So there are no Mondays that are also Fridays. And of course, they both still fit into the box that contains all weekdays. So a little bit more on these special types of sets. This set that we use the word sum for. We call the box the universal set. So it contains everything in A and everything that's in B, and also some other stuff potentially. When they overlap, they create this part of the set that contains stuff in A and in B, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So if we talk about the union of the two sets, so A being a set is just a group of things, group of people, group of numbers, group of items, group of places. So this circle represents all the things in set A, this circle represents all the things in set B, and if we talk about the union of them, we're talking about all the things that are in A and B together. And the symbol for union is this U. So this A union B is talking about all the items in set A and all the items in set B together. If we look at just the center portion, that's called the intersection, the place where the two sets overlap, and the intersection is represented with an upside down U. So this is the intersection of A and B, and that's all the stuff that's in both A and B. So only the items in the set that are in A and B. So the things that the two sets have in common we call the intersection. It's where the two circles intersect. So here I have two sets, set F and set G, and when we write things in set notation we put them in these brackets. So F contains dog, cat, cow, and fly, and G contains frog, ant, dog, and cat. So if I draw a Venn diagram, my big box might represent animals. And to start labeling what goes on this picture, to make sure I do it right, I'm going to start with this intersection. The thing that both sets have in common. So if I look up here, the thing they both have in common are dog and cat. So in the middle where they overlap, I'm going to write dog and cat. So they don't have anything else in common, so that means what's left over in F is cow and fly. So on the rest of the circle, I'll write cow and fly. And for G, we have frog and ant left over, so that goes in the rest of that circle. So dog and cat is still in the circle F, but it's in this special place because those two animals are also in circle G, so they have to be in the middle so that they can be in both sets at the same time. And if I want to find the union of F and G, it's simply all of the animals contained in both sets. So dog, cat, cow, fly, frog, and ant. There should only be 6. If you look at the picture, there are 6 animals. Dog and cat are in both sets, so we don't repeat them when we write the union. To find the intersection, we just look at the 2 that are in common. They have dog and cat in common. That's the intersection. So I want you to pause here, use this Venn diagram, label the Venn diagram, and then find the union and intersection of sets P and R. So P and R have the number 6 in common and nothing else. So we'll start with the middle, the intersection, and we'll put a 6 there. So we can already answer question C, find the intersection. The intersection is the set 6. So that means everything left over in P goes in this circle where the other circle is not overlapping. So 2, 4, and 8. And then in R is 3, 9, and 12. So this space represents all the numbers that are only in P. This space represents all the numbers that are only in R. And if I want to write their union, I write all of the numbers that are in both of them together. 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 12. And if you have the Venn diagram, that's really easy to do. You just copy down all the numbers written there. So to add an extra layer, we can add a third set. So when these 3 circles overlap each other, we have this place where all 3 of them intersect. That's the piece where all 3 of them contain that element. So let's look at these 3 sets. All 3 sets contain dog. So I'll start labeling my Venn diagram in the very middle. That's the thing that they all have, which is dog. Then I can look at what do F and G have in common. F and G both have cat. H doesn't have cat, but F and G have cat. So right here where F and G overlap, but they don't overlap with H, we'll put cat. And then G and H have frog in common. F doesn't have frog, so in this space where only G and H are overlapping, we will put frog. And then we have no other similarities, so the rest left over to put in F is cow and fly. In G, the word ant. And in H, duck and swan. So if I want to look at the union of F and H, I'm looking at all the animals that are in F and all the animals that are in H, and I put them together, which makes the set dog, cat, cow, fly, duck, swan, and frog. Those are all the animals that are in the H circle and the F circle put together. Again, we don't repeat the ones that they have in common, which is dog. And then the intersection of H and G, that's the one thing that H and G have in common, which is frog. Oh, they also have dog. So go ahead and give this one a shot. Pause here. Start with the middle. Figure out what should be going in the middle. And then press play and we'll go over the answer. So we're looking for the thing that all 3 of these have in common. And that is the number 6. So the number 6 goes all the way right in the center of this picture where all 3 circles overlap. Then I can look at the things that S and R have in common. S and R have the number 9 in common and the number 12. So that's where we put 9 and 12. P and S have the number 4 in common. So we're going to put 4, and they also have 8. I missed that. put that in the two circles where only P and S are overlapping. And then we use whatever's left over in each set to put in these other spaces. So P, we have 2 left over. R, we have 3. And S, we have 14 and 15. Now we can use this picture to answer these questions. The union of S and R, all the numbers that are in R and all the numbers that are in S, put them all together, and this is the set we get. If you notice, the only number that's not in this set on this picture is 2 because it's in circle P. And then the intersection of P and S, where they overlap, right here, 4 and 8. And I copied this answer from before, so my original answer there is wrong. It should be 4 and 8. So there's one more way that this is going to show up, and this is where we get sort of a word problem, something that's a more realistic scenario. So I have a class full of 60 students. So that means in my big box here, I have 60 total students. 26 of them take art, 18 take music, and 2 take both. So when I draw my Venn diagram, I want to start from the middle. So I want to put that there are 2 students in the middle where art and music overlap, and those are the students that take both art and music. So then I have to be careful here. 26 of them take art. So 26 students out of the 60 take art, but I've already put 2 of those students on the picture because those students take art and music. So I have only 24 students who take only art. If you look just at this circle now, I still have 26 students in the art circle, 24 here who only take art, and 2 in the middle that also take music. 18 of my students total take music, but 2 of them are in the middle already. They take both. So that means if I do 18 minus 2, I'll find out that 16 students take only music. So again, in this music circle, I have 18 students, even though I broke them up. Now I want to find out how many are not enrolled in either art or music. So I'm going to add these 3 numbers together. 24 plus 16 gives me 40, plus 2 more students gives me 42. So if I do 60 minus 42, I get that there are 18 students in this class who don't take art or music. So pause here, read this about the athletes in the senior class, and then give it a shot. So I have 50 athletes in the senior class who play either baseball or football. So if my box represents all the athletes in the senior class, then that means I have 0 of them who don't play baseball or football. So we're talking only about the 50 people who play baseball or football. 28 play baseball, and 8 play both sports. So I'm going to start in the middle, the place where football and baseball overlap, and say that 8 of them are there because 8 people play baseball and football. Now I'm told that 28 athletes play baseball. Well, 8 of them are right here already. They also play football. So I need to do 28 minus 8 to get that 20 of these athletes play only baseball. So my 20 baseball players and my 8 baseball / football players need to come together with my number of just football players to make 50 total athletes. So if I subtract 50 minus 20 minus 8, I get 22 athletes who only play football. So now in my football circle, because I want to figure out how many total play football, in my football circle I have 22 and I have 8. So that means I have 30 of these senior athletes who play football. So we're at the end of the video and it's a blank page. That means there is no link today So you can go straight to showing me your notes and doing some practice.